opened to the empty chair.
Hello, empty chair. Do we have to tell people where you are, or is Jordan?
Let's do one of those again. I'll leave you to maybe do a little bit of pre-show opening.
Yeah, I'll have a wee chat to people and you can see what you can sort out.
good.
Welcome to Trending, the pre-show. As you've seen, Josh has returned this week, so always better with the two of us around. Thanks for being a part of the show today, and a special thanks too to everybody who bore with me last week when I was piloting the ship. Many a button, many a screen, but we got through it in the end. So this is the show, of course, that is primarily here because we wanted to find new ways to interact with you. And so, welcome to the stream. Maybe you're finding this as a video on demand a little bit later on, letting you know that this show is live between 9 and 10 on a Friday. And it's a chance to go through the news stories of the week, a current affairs show with a bit of a difference because all the stories that we have selected are there because of the online activity of people like you, people you live alongside, work alongside, and the stories that they found the most interesting. How did they go looking for more information? Bang it into Google perhaps? Did they click on more links with your major news services? These are the criteria that we use to figure out what are the trending news stories in the country. Then we have a wee chat about it, and of course you can let us know your thoughts. Some really unusual stories that are in our, I was going to say our top 10, but really it's a broader net that we cast than just 10. Some stories that are kind of old and outdated. I don't know why. Well, look, I'm getting ahead of myself. The point is, when we get to those stories, we'll ask you your thoughts on all of those. But any guesses, perhaps, what might have been the most popular in the last week? Hasn't this weather just been all over the shop? If you're living in the North Island, and I think particularly in the northern half of the North Island, maybe like me, you've been wondering what all the fuss has been about because it's been ferocious. We've got some video that we can play a little bit later on today regarding the weather. Probably doesn't shock you to know that that's done rather well in the search terms today, but I spent yesterday evening moving a lot of plants around our backyard and moving them up onto the deck and, undercover because we were concerned that the winds were going to rip through, and I thought that maybe my wife's tomato plants wouldn't survive, and woe betide us all if my wife's tomato plants don't survive, because you know what they say, happy tomato plant, happy life.
Or is it happy tomato plant, happy wife, happy life?
Well, it's the part of that they don't include. They say happy wife, happy life. They haven't included the T's and C's that go before that to let you know. So I've since discovered tomato plant, wife, life. Like that's the
then you need to know what makes the tomato plant happy and then what makes that thing that makes the tomato plant happy, yada, yada, yada.
We did learn that you can give your plant chemical burns.
Wow.
Right?
Okay.
So certain fertilizers and sprays and so on and so forth, it's like, you think, how much of a difference can it really make? Which is a very me way of dealing with a problem. But it does turn out there was one thing in particular. My wife was trying to grow some bok choy from a former bok choy plant. So it was, son of bok choy.
Son of bok choy.
And let's just say she had to go in the bin. She got a bit of a spray down and it wasn't good.
Was she growing inside or out?
Out. Well, so there is a miniature greenhouse in our home right now.
Beautiful.
One of the main windows facing north has a line of tinfoil on it, and then 4 plastic cups that are being used to germinate various seedlings.
Oh, quite a miniature greenhouse.
Yeah, yeah. She's even got this double cup method, which I'd never seen before, where you get 2 plastic cups, you pour the water into the second cup kind of underneath, and then, cut a few holes in it. So it's like the plant isn't sitting in water itself, but it's just above the water source so that it doesn't get over.
That's so smart.
Isn't it clever? So anyway, that's been going on. And then, of course, we transfer those from, miniature greenhouse to actual outdoor potted plant setting. And we have about 3 tomato seedlings, I suppose you'd call them now, miniature plants that are ready to go should the ones that are outside maybe, not make it for whatever reason.
I just always am so perplexed by the plants that thrive outside. They're just like, look at me. I could grow through whatever. Any storm comes my way, get inside. The pH.
The pH is wrong.
I can't handle it.
Or vice versa.
Well, that's true.
Most plants, I would think all of them, if I'm right in understanding the Lord's intention, were designed to grow outside. I don't think God created any plants with the intention of them all growing indoors. And so why is it that when I put them outdoors, it's like, the sun, the rain. I mean, I've learned the wisdom of this now. So let me just say, I accept the fact that my assumptions were wrong. But when I first watered some of these plants, to find out that you shouldn't water them from the top, was like a revelation to me that I never would have. You imagine a plant being like, oh, water from the top of me. Oh, no. Who thought of this? It's like, well, how else does rain, anyway.
Seems like a metaphor for, like the woke mob of teenagers who are just.
Oh, yeah.
I just couldn't handle it. It's just snowflakes and all.
Yeah, exactly.
Not that I believe much of that nonsense anyway.
Well, thank you for joining us today. If you've just tuned in, welcome along to the stream. Here we are together. So do be sure to say hello, jump into the chat, tell us maybe what you're doing, where you're watching from today. Have you had anything blow over in your backyard, perhaps?
Yeah. Hey, how's it been around your neck of the woods? Of course, we're in Auckland, so it's been not great, but let's be honest, comparatively much better.
Actually, surprisingly warm, like even today. Quite tropical, quite warm in the studio.
If you've just joined us, by the way, on the stream, if you're not even sure what is going on, we're in the pre-show of a show called Trending. So we're about to go live with the radio audience and live here on the stream at the same time. This is just the preamble at the beginning, warming up, getting to know each other. We're going to talk about the trending stories over the week that was, take a look at them from a Christian perspective. If you've got any thoughts, if you've got any hypothesis as to what may be trending, what might be cropping up in our list today, feel free to get in touch. You can leave a comment below.
Yeah, man, would love to hear from you. And other than gardening talk in my world, we're also talking moving. I've done the big house move. Josh's is coming up in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I saw Andrew do it. I thought, I want a piece of that.
Yep.
That looks so enjoyable.
Yeah,
it doesn't look stressful at all.
No, I've got so much free time and mental energy. I think I should just blow it on something.
Grateful, very grateful to have bought a home, but
yeah.
It's not a low stress situation.
Brings me back to one of my major insights in that I don't know how anyone does this if you don't know anyone who's ever done it before. Like imagine you were trying to figure this out by yourself without anyone who's had experience of it previously. I can't imagine how we would have navigated all that nonsense.
I mean, even just, are you talking about buying the home?
And then all the moving stuff and then all the other just all the other accoutrement that comes with it, the different sign-offs you need, and how hard was insurance to get for you, by the way?
I mean, we were talking about it before we started the stream. It was a rigmarole. I mean, part of it was straightforward, and then other parts are a little bit more. And
what were they like in getting back to you as well, like the insurance company? Were they relatively snappy, or did they take a while?
I actually, and not a sponsor or whatever you want to say, but I called AMI, and every time I dealt with them, they were great.
See, this is what I needed to know, because we definitely had some experiences with certain companies. ANZ, boo. There you go. Name it and shame it. They were awful, man. They would take a day or two to get back to you on anything.
Gosh.
And then they wouldn't you'd ask them 3 questions. They'd say, oh, well, we'll have to find that out and come back to you. And then they'd come back and say, oh, yes, we haven't answered question 1. And you'd be like, and question 2, they're like, oh, yes, we'll be right back. Disappear for another day or two. Yes, we've answered question number 2 now. And question 3, yes, I've got, it's like Faulty Towers, the insurance edition. Not a fan at all. But look, we're all moved in. We're happy about it. We finally cleared our hallway from, various boxes and crates and things. So that's nice.
Hey, just seeing a few of the streaming numbers jumping up on the YouTube page. Sorry.
Cool.
So good to see you, by the way. Good to see you watching along. Let us know where you're watching from, how your day is going. We were talking about the weather. If the weather has impacted you where you live, feel free to leave a comment below just before we get into trending proper.
Which is in about 2 or 5 seconds. So let's do it, shall we? And words you'll find in Psalm 78, verse 72.
Live on air and online. Trending with Andrew Curtis.
No, hi to my, welcome to Trending. It is Friday. We are 7 minutes after 9, and it's about time to find out what has fascinated the nation in the last week. What news stories do we really resonate with? Maybe in contrast to the stories that led your nightly news, or maybe with the big chunkiest headlines on your major news services. Thankfully, we live in the age of the algorithm that can tell us just that. What do people go searching for more information about? We'll have those insights courtesy of Google, and then, of course, the most clicked on news stories, both in New Zealand and around the world. And I wouldn't want to do this alone. Last week was enough, so we brought him back, ladies and gentlemen, by popular demand, Josh Beatty.
Great to be back. Always happy to be a part of Trending. And, of course, we're very happy that you are also a part of Trending as well. Listening right now or watching right now, if you want to watch and you're only listening, head to the stream, rima.co.nz, click on either the Rima or, on either the Facebook or YouTube pages. And hey, if you're just listening but you still want to get in touch, 8168 with the keyword Rima. That is how you text.
Well, because it is the news that you have chosen. And I say you in the broadest sense, you as all of Aotearoa, the collective news interest of all of the country goes into selecting these stories for today. And some that I'm surprised to see in there. Others that I thought were pretty obvious from the outset. You can take a look around. Dare I say, if you've looked out your window this week, you might have a bit of a sense of a story that might have marched its way up the headline rankings this week.
We do, though, have a missing in action today, a story that we believed certainly, without a shadow of a doubt, would have appeared in the trending results, and turns out it did not.
So what do you reckon that one could be? You're welcome to share your thoughts. Jump into the chat this morning or send us a text.
8168 with the keyword Rima, or of course, if you're looking for the stream, rima.co.nz and click on either the Facebook or YouTube links.
Trending with Andrew Curtis.
And can I suggest, if you've never joined the live stream before, this could be the perfect opportunity to do so, because I feel like this story does need the visual component to drive it home. We're starting with a news story on stuff.co.nz. It is the second most popular news website in the country, and this was the second most popular story on the second most popular news website. The seemingly innocuous incident caught on camera that has triggered an investigation into a principal.
Yeah, this one is perplexing. By the way, Marcy, hi, getting in touch on YouTube. She says, Morena Rimafano. Morning. Good to be with you, Marcy.
Morena, Marcy.
Let's get into this one because you and I are both perplexed.
So, admittedly, we want to make sure that our teachers are treating the children well. So perhaps that could explain why this story in particular captured people's interest. We wanted to know what's going on here. And again, there is some video footage that we're going to play in a moment. So if you want to jump on the stream to watch it with us, we'll try and provide a running commentary for those of you who just have the radio version. But certainly if teachers are behaving badly and not treating children well, we want to know all about it. But a fairly shallow dive into the facts behind this immediately starts to turn up some rather unusual details and baffles me as to why this is so important.
Well, what do we want to talk about first? The fact that this happened back in 2022.
Yeah.
So quite a while ago, the student in question, whose parents complained, has since graduated, moved on, stayed at the school.
Yeah.
But now, for whatever reason, unclear to us, it's cropped up as the second most trending story on stuff.co.nz. This conversation starting afresh. We're not sure why, but also the incident in question, again, fairly innocuous.
Well, I like to think so. And maybe it speaks to being of a certain age and generation. I'm leaning into my more boomerish tendencies as time ticks along, even though apparently I'm a geriatric millennial, by the way. Very flattering term.
Oh, you carry it off.
Thank you.
With charm and dignity.
It's the grey in the hair that really does it for me. I'm going to play this clip now on the live stream. And again, we'll try and provide a bit of a running commentary for you as well. Unfortunately, there's no audio that goes with this one. But basically what we see is some students congregating, a teacher walking over to try and disperse them. And in fact, with that in mind, we'll try and play this clip now. So again, we can just see, a man in a suit walking towards a bunch of kids all huddled together.
Bring me your huddled masses.
That's right. And, suddenly there's pointing. Teacher swings around into the group. And then I'm waiting for the moment. When they say there's been a big complaint and I'm like, okay, like what's happening? I'm waiting for it. There seems to be some talking backwards and forwards.
It's unclear because it also outlines in the article, in the footage that we're seeing or that we are commentating for you, by the way, the stream, rima.co.nz, it does seem that there is a moment where the principal puts, or the teacher in question, I think it is the principal, puts their hand on the back of the student. And this is where the blurred lines come in. The simply put blurry CCT footage is... you're unable to determine what is going on, but the allegation is manhandled.
Manhandled was the word that was used. And this is it's so bizarre. I can't see what the problem is here, and at the risk of maybe chiming in with a fully formed opinion without all the facts, I can't really see evidence of manhandling here. Now, according to the article, it says at one point, one of the students walks away and it appears the principal of Wanganui High School, Martin McAllen, reaches out and pulls him back by either his bag or his jersey and keeps his hand on the bag strap. Now, I will say, based on my viewing of that clip, I can't really see much of a pulling, a redirection of direction for the student there. But in any case, I mean, at the risk of making apologies for bad behavior from teachers when I was a kid, I can't see anything in that clip that wouldn't have happened when I was at high school that you just go, it just seems like a non-event.
I know a story of a teacher that, from a distance at least, shot a gun stapler towards a student.
Oh, it doesn't shock me at all.
No.
Do you ever have teachers who like...
Not condoning said behavior, but, you know...
do you have any that threw like dusters at people?
No.
Had that one before. Or chalk,
fair enough. Yep.
Chalk projectiles at some child or whatever it might be that's just not paying attention. So, I mean, again, I don't know. Is this just those of us who are a wee bit older say, well, you know, classic back in my day scenario, but
well,
it does...
Look, let's actually put it to
There you
you
go.
watching and listening right now from, if you just heard that, your best understanding. You can check this out, by the way, at stuff.co.nz, or, of course, if you want to see what we're talking about, join us on the stream, rumour.co.nz. But text on through, and if you are watching the stream, leave a comment below of what you saw. What is your impression? Is manhandled the right word or not?
So the final description once more is that the principal reached out, either pulled a student back by his bag or jersey, and then kept their hand on the bag strap. That is the manhandling in question. I mean, usually we try and be as, you know, neutral as we can with this, but I feel like our own feelings have come through fairly strongly.
I mean, I think our interpretation from the footage is this is the second trending news story in the country on stuff.co.nz over this week, and we're both like, why?
Why? I blame the parents.
Trending with Andrew Curtis.
So let's head internationally then for our second story. A little new startup called CNN.
Oh, yeah. Oh, good to see they're still going strong, these guys.
Well, they're still going. Is it strong? Let you be the judge of that
Well,
one.
yeah.
It's a good opportunity, though, to bring in one of our all reliable sources of news. And number one on CNN this week. Look, it is about Donald Trump, but it is also about world events. So I think anytime Americans discover the rest of the world, we should celebrate it. Congratulations. Other parts of the world exist. Well done to you.
We were asked off air a little while ago by the producer of the Morning Wake Up, Tabs, you know, how often does Trump feature? And the answer is always, it's typically Trump adjacent.
Yeah, how many degrees of separation? He's always there. He's always watching. It's like the Lord, but with more questionable morals. Reality catches up with Trump's Ukraine peace drive and threatens his Mideast push. This has actually been really interesting to follow throughout the last few months, and contrasted here with what's happened in the Middle East. We've had talks about whether or not Trump should get the Nobel Peace Prize for what he's managed to achieve in the Middle East. I actually think he's probably worthy of it if this peace plan of his manages to hold. But for some reason, he doesn't employ the same strategy when it comes to dealing with Russia, Ukraine, and the war that's been going on there for even longer.
Is this a case of keep your enemies close so your friends close and your enemies closer? I mean, more threat is Russia potentially to the United States than the Middle East?
I mean, those who are more cynical have said that perhaps Trump has business interests which could overlap with Russia. And I mean, for those people who decided already that he's, you know, the worst tyrant since Hitler, this is just, you know, further confirmation that they need. Fascism everywhere! Which, by the way, if you think that, have a cup of tea and a lie down. But great to, again, see this contrast between what's going on in Ukraine and in the Middle East. I did, though, manage to find an updated news story, which I have not seen this reported elsewhere, at least to the detail that we're about to discover, courtesy of DW News. And this was only a few days ago. But it's the first time I've heard any reports that Putin may be willing to make some concessions in regards to land in Ukraine to resolve the conflict there. So we're going to play this clip out now and let us know your thoughts on this one, about whether or not we're going to see a peace situation, a lasting peace in the Russia and Ukraine conflict. So that's probably the first time I've heard a meaningful discussion of what could be required to end this conflict. I know the whole way through that President Zelensky has been very reluctant to give up any part of Ukraine that was not already under their sovereign control at the start of this conflict. For what it's worth, being willing to put my hat in the ring, I do feel like this is probably one of the more workable solutions we've seen. The Donbass region was more or less under Russian control before the war even broke out. That's a whole other discussion to get into. But if he's able to trade the Donbass region and still retain the Zaporizhzhia and Kherson regions for Ukraine, that gives them a coastline for a start, which is always going to be helpful for the long-term health and well-being of the country. Trading land for security has always seemed to me like the more lasting medium to long-term strategy. But will they go ahead with it?
I have two thoughts. Number one, we just actually got a message through just wondering if the audio for the stream is all good. Secondly, though, I wondered if we accidentally had played a clip from like months ago, which is incorrect because I guess the words I heard coming from Trump and the meeting descending into a shouting match and do what you're told or you'll be destroyed. That line in particular, I think we've heard that before. So just interesting to see that continual thread. And once again, the Ukraine still standing firm, not believing that that is a threat that has any legs.
So this story, was from the 21st of October too. So that's a reasonable question to ask as well. And it is very disorienting when you listen to a lot of Trump's rhetoric around Ukraine and whether or not he supports them or not, and whether or not they should cede things to Russia or not. He seems to go from, Russia are trying to actively resolve this to, no, they're stonewalling us to, okay, we're going to back Ukraine to, no, you guys need to give Russia what they need. So this is maybe the most recently reported development of their talks. Apparently, too, Trump had decided to scuttle the idea of another summit between, Russia and Ukraine and all that kind of stuff because he felt like Putin was going to waste his time. Now they've come back with a few suggestions here. Schmozzle is the word I would use.
You asked the question a little bit earlier. Why has the ability to find peace eluded Trump in Ukraine versus Russia in juxtaposition to what we've seen in the Middle East? Is there a more clear enemy bad guy in the Middle East? That is not the case for Ukraine, Russia. I mean, Russia seems maybe like more of the bad guy.
Sure.
But of course, as you said, there's mutual interests between Putin and Trump. So maybe is that the harder game for him to play, which side to choose?
Yeah, it could well be. He seems much more prepared to play hardball against like Hamas and their benefactors, shall we say, those who've been supporting their war effort and providing them with weapons and so on for so long. We actually covered, Josh, while you were away, some of the strategy that was employed by the US negotiation team.
Oh, right.
To basically get Hamas on board. They went through like Qatar and Turkey and Egypt to get them to do what they wanted them to. But yeah, it doesn't have that same kind of leverage over Russia. Look, it'll continue for as long as it wants to continue. The tragedy with these wars, of course, is that ultimately people end up making compromises that they could have made a long time ago, but you're also battling against people's own will to keep fighting and the resources that are available. So, as per usual from our safe little corner of the globe, it is something we continue to pray for.
Trending with Andrew Curtis.
And now continuing our tour of the major news services, this time back in New Zealand and a website we always love to visit. Pop by and say hello. We're heading to the spin-off.
Always a little bit of fun when visiting the spin-off, although the topic in question today may be absent of fun at the best of times.
A little more hard-hitting from them this time around, but at thespinoff.co.nz, their number one story, great article from Joel McManus here on the topic of inner-city homelessness and the fact that it has become an economic emergency. Now, there's been a lot of things that people have pointed to as evidence of economic hardship and struggle for the last few years. It's been pretty tough for most, and a lot of the social agencies that we work through here via REMA, be they food banks or poverty support services and those sorts of things, have talked about an increased demand for their expertise or the resources they can provide. But an interesting article, though, to find as the number one story on the spin-off about inner city homelessness. And before we get into this too, we want to know what your perspective of homelessness has been in your part of the country.
Do you believe that you've actually noticed an increase in the homeless population where you live? That is the question we want to put to you. This is the number 1 or 2 trending story on the Spin-Off.
Number 1.
Number 1. So there you go. Obviously at the forefront of our news media. Get in touch, 8168 with the keyword Rima, text on through. Or, of course, if you're watching the stream, you can leave a comment below. If you're looking for the stream, head to rima.co.nz, find that YouTube or Facebook link. Let us know.
So we've scrolled down the story a little bit for you, and we're going to read through a touch. For those of you, of course, who are watching on the stream, you can read along too. But it said a survey released by Auckland City Centre Business Association, Heart of the City, found that 91% of business owners thought that rough sleeping and begging were harming their trade. 91%.
Wow.
And then 81% believed the CBD was unfit to attract new people and investment. In a recent Wellington Chamber of Commerce survey, 12.5% of business owners thought crime and antisocial behaviour was the top barrier to their businesses succeeding. Now, as someone who lived in the centre of Auckland City up until very recently, I can tell you that there was a bit of a blip where there was quite a lot of homeless presence around the city, and it seemed to diminish for a little while, but then certainly in the last year or so, it's increased a lot, and that runs parallel with the number of empty stores on Queen Street. The major, well, what used to be the business thoroughfare of New Zealand, now just really a throwback to the glory days, perhaps. A lot of empty stores and certainly a lot of rough sleepers around.
Very recently, we went to a team day.
Yeah.
And we went to the Metro, which you may or may not know here in Auckland. But all this to say, the comments that flooded every conversation as we walk through as this giant group of broadcasters, from Life FM to Rima to Sanctuary, etc., was, where is everything?
Yeah.
This is a ghost town. It's empty. It's sad. And just all the memories of the heyday. And as you say, that's in conjunction with this conversation around an increase in homelessness.
Yeah. And so this is what's impacting businesses there. We've had major players as well, like say Smith & Co., who are an absolute, real
powerhouse
icon, you might say, of New Zealand retailing, declared bankruptcy. They were well known, of course, for their Queen Street location for decades, more than 100 years, in fact. And so great to see that this article is gaining attention here in terms of causes and cures and so on. That's something that people will always speculate upon, but it is certainly an indicator that things are not going well. And then, of course, the question starts to flow on to, well, where do you put these people instead? Is it an indication of, societal issues at play and, how much do these things kind of feed into one another? You have a lot of rough sleepers around, so people aren't going to these stores, so retail collapses. So in a wider sense, people start to lose their jobs and that sort of thing, and then you end up more people on the streets, and something needs to be done.
Yeah. Do you think we get, I'm trying to think of a better term, of choice paralysis, because I don't think that's exactly what it is. But as you say, as soon as you begin to add all of the different factors and it all balloons out to being this massive sphere of problems, we kind of get paralyzed by what we should do as Christians.
Yeah.
And we've actually talked about this on the show before, is that you literally cannot care about everything.
Sure.
But if we don't care about anything, then we are completely flying in the face of Scripture.
Well, and I think what's really challenging too is that poverty in New Zealand is very different to poverty in other parts of the world. And this is not to say that it doesn't still have terrible impacts, but you see somebody who is impoverished living in, let's say, India, for example. India, Africa, those kind of things that, your mum used to throw at you when you were at dinner and said, kids in Africa these days. Like, if you are poor in those parts of the world, like you are, your reasons for poverty are very different from, say, what they may well be in New Zealand. And one of the things that is an uncomfortable reality too, when it comes to rough sleepers, it's more a reflection as well about breakdown in mental health services.
Right.
Than it is to do with, I had a few bad breaks and things didn't go my way and then suddenly I ended up on the street. That certainly does happen. That's a factor. But it's much more common to discover that those who are in those situations also have long-term struggles with, say, drug, alcohol addiction, and then mental health challenges. Often those two tend to intersect as well. People who are not well mentally also end up with substance abuse problems, which amplify their mental health issues. But it's not quite the same as purely, I grew up in an impoverished caste in an obscure corner of the globe where my parents were indentured laborers. Very different situation, and therefore kind of a different solution that you might employ. And as a Christian, bringing this conversation back around, how I would then intervene is a little bit different.
Right.
Because if it is purely outside of somebody's control and there's nothing that you can do about those sorts of things, I respond differently to saying you need more of a wraparound health and social support service, a mental health service, than it is really just a reflection of a poor economic outlook. I don't want to diminish the fact that economics are a part of it. It is just a very different response than maybe you would make if you were in a part of the world that had extreme poverty in a way that you don't find in New Zealand, even though certainly there are people who are struggling and, are not eating as well as they could be and having a lot of the flow-on social effects too of living in an impoverished home.
Yes, so many answers, so many questions. First and foremost, not enough answers, I suppose. But if you've got a thought on this, by the way, we are welcoming you to get in touch. It's a big conversation, but we want your thoughts. 8168 with the keyword REMA, or if you're watching the stream, leave a comment below.
Trending with Andrew Curtis.
Now to a story that is not anywhere in our search terms, and I am kind of shocked. I am kind of surprised it has all the hallmarks of a Mission Impossible movie, but nobody seemed to care that somebody robbed the Louvre this week.
Yeah, not trending at all.
Right.
Not even really, really low down, by the way, because obviously we don't typically go to like number 33 or number 40, whatever. But blank.
Yep.
Not there. The jewel heist. And I'm not going to say robbery because that's not as exciting.
It's super exciting, though. I mean,
that's why I want to say heist. It's a heist.
Yeah.
That's way cooler.
It's one of those things that really taps into a moral gray area when you say, look, what you've did is terrible and wrong and illegal, but at the same time, that is so cool. That is
We are not condoning this, but cool.
Well done. Well done. So what actually went down? Somebody broke into the Louvre in broad daylight and managed to make off with some of the French crown jewels. An amazing story. We found this recap from CBS News outlining how it all went down. So if you missed the story, and maybe you did, because of course, again, it was not trending anywhere in our search terms, or was it highly ranked on any of our major news services? How did the robbery in the Louvre go down? You're going to love this.
From the world's busiest airport to the world's most famous museum, the hunt is on for the burglars who broke into the Louvre in Paris on Sunday and made off with priceless jewels.
It is a national embarrassment for France. Elizabeth Palmer reports they pulled it off in just 4 minutes in broad daylight, then took off like thieves in the night.
Except
the French police found plenty of evidence, including the mobile ladder the thieves used to break in and their chainsaw abandoned on the sidewalk. They entered on the back side of the building, away from the main entrance with its famous pyramid, and cut their way through this window, then made straight for the sumptuous Apollo's Gallery, just down the hall from the Mona Lisa. But they were...
I love how they said the Mona Lisa, because for most Americans, that's the only thing they know about the Louvre.
I don't think we need the captions on, by the way, either.
After France's crown jewels. It took them just 4 minutes to steal 9 priceless objects, including a pearl and diamond tiara made for Napoleon III's wife, Eugénie, and a sapphire-studded necklace and earrings.
France's BFM TV says this video shot by a tourist actually shows one of the robbers in a high-vis vest just before they fled.
To put like a perimeter on.
Sofiane Aboubekar is head of France's security guards union.
It's a major security breach, a major one. We haven't seen that in years in France, and it's quite a spectacular one.
France's justice minister has admitted the glass in the cases wasn't tough enough. The thief
You think?
sawed right through it. And critics say there is resistance to putting modern security systems in historic French buildings.
We cannot even put like a secure window. They want to keep the building like, as it were, to preserve it.
One stroke of luck, this diamond-studded crown was saved.
The thieves left it in the street as they made their getaway on motorcycles. As for the rest of the treasure, the police fear it's in the hands of organized criminals now who plan to melt it down and sell the jewels on the black market.
No, it's going to end up in some kind of criminal basement. You know, like one of those massacre, like you see in the movies, and they got some kind of hidden downstairs, hermetically sealed chamber with all these stolen priceless artifacts from around the world. That's where it's going to end up.
Yeah, you maybe need to move from living in the film world to living back in reality. I did see a lot of conversation around whether or not these actually will yield as much revenue as the thieves will hope for, because of course, unless they can find a seller that will be willing to take them as is and very recognizable as the stolen goods, they then have to break them down, and it's not as much, and yada, yada, yada. The economy we're in these days. You can't even rob the Louvre these days.
Jewel heist in this economy? Look, at the risk of taking a really dark turn with this, if you can traffic human beings, you can sell a crown.
Yeah, you definitely took a dark turn.
Just saying, you shouldn't be able to sell those either. People do that all the time, so...
Good point. It's a good point.
Right.
I'd actually like to quickly return to the conversation we were having a moment ago. Charmaine has got in touch on the Facebook page. Potentially a controversial opinion. Does God still heal? I don't like the way Christians run to the doctor as if he is God. It's a real lack of faith and acting like unbelievers.
Interesting. I think it's kind of a hand-in-hand thing, if I'm being completely honest. I think you're right, though. There is some wisdom in let me put it this way. I've noticed in myself sometimes when maybe you're working with somebody and they're like, how are you doing? They say, oh, I've got a bit of a headache. And you'll say oh, that's no good. Oh, that's no fun. Oh, have you had a Panadol? And you never think, I don't always. I try and remember to more regularly now. I'm just, moment of vulnerability here. Oh, wait, I could pray for that person. I could pray for that person, or I could pray for, whatever it is that ails me. But at the same time, even Jesus talked about, physician, heal thyself. Obviously, there were physicians back in Jesus' day. So the idea of a doctor in general, I don't know, if it's a complete bypass of faith.
Oh, absolutely. I had the opportunity to talk to a Christian psychologist during Mental Health Awareness Week very recently. And one of the big things that she said to me, which stood out, is all truth is God's truth. If it is truth, it comes from God.
Yeah.
Ultimately, he is the creator of all things. And so the understanding and the ability that we have to improve our mental health through a lot of processes and a lot of the things that have been learnt by her, the person I talked to, and others in this position that now equip us to better manage our mental health are still of and from God.
Yeah, nice. And supposed to be the same with the physical as well as the mental, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
But interesting take, though. And I mean, you're right. I think it is something that we need to kind of hold in tension as Christians too, because the other side of it is that once you do get a severe medical diagnosis, look, we've all heard stories of people who've been given a diagnosis that says, maybe it's all over and miracles can still happen. So learning how to hold those things in tension, I think, is definitely part of the art of this Christian life that we live.
Trending with Andrew Curtis.
Now into the Google search trends for the last week. Are we getting a bit tired of this? And that's why it's down to number 23. But ladies and gentlemen, strike is the number 23 in Google this week. We're not talking 10-pin bowling. No. This is the mega strike.
Oh, the mega one.
Yeah, not just a strike.
Oh, yeah.
It's like the mega, you got to say it like that, mega strike.
That wasn't so mega, unfortunately, due to the weather.
Yeah. Don't you hate it when the weather gets in the way of a good strike? Let's see how One News covered this when tens of thousands walked off the job for the mega strike. This is teachers, nurses, and other public sector workers.
Crazy, right?
Also impacting tomorrow's mega strike, with
That's
some events moving
for...
indoors and others cancelled altogether. Tens of thousands of public sector workers will still walk off the job in protest against recent pay offers. The government's lead negotiator says he deeply regrets the disruption, but is hopeful of a resolution soon. Sophie Trigger has more.
It was supposed to be a day of protests, putting scenes like this in the shade. But the weather is not on their side.
So in any areas that have got a red weather warning, safety is number one priority. So all outdoor events have been cancelled. At the end of the day, a strike isn't about waving a placard and chanting. It's about withdrawal of labour.
The Ministry of Education says 850,000 students will be disrupted, while Health New Zealand estimates the strike action will impact 6,000 patients.
We regret the disruption that's going to happen to public service tomorrow. We have been very committed over an extended period of time to reach an agreement with the various unions. We have failed in that.
So how much responsibility do you take as Public Service Commissioner for the fact that a resolution hasn't been reached?
Are we without fault? No, but I have a very clear conscience about the commitment and the resources that we have deployed to this.
Singling out the Post-Primary Teachers Association, saying correspondence released publicly shows the government has been committed to reaching an agreement.
We have been asking for further engagement. We have failed to achieve that. That is very much for them to determine and for them to justify the actions they are taking.
And at the end of the day, the offer wasn't good enough. It's gone out to our members. They've given us plenty of feedback. And actually, one of the biggest items of feedback was disrespect. That's what our members feel about this offer. They feel disrespected.
The Prime Minister urging both sides to resume negotiations.
Yeah, think about the kids, the parents and the patients and get back around the bargaining table. There's offers to be made that you need to take out to your members, and the best place to deal with that is not striking.
But many spoken to by One News today were backing the strikes.
I'm on the teachers and health workers' side.
Well, I don't blame them, to be perfectly honest. It's a shame they have to, but they have to do it, don't they?
I think it's a politically driven thing to unseat the present government.
My sister's just trained as a nurse, and it scares me how low they actually start on.
The Public Service Commissioner still confident an outcome can be reached.
The next step is really for the strike action to be got out of everybody's system, and then we'll sit down next week and try and find a way through it.
The negotiation stakes now raised as the mega disruption approaches.
Mega disruption from the mega strike.
What about that line? Get the strike energy out of their system. That sounds very dismissive.
Yeah, doesn't it?
Does it not? My goodness me.
Just got all the strike in me. I've just got to get the strike out. Just
It's like the idea of a child of like, just go run the sugar out outside.
Exactly.
Then you can come in once you can behave.
Maybe they all need a striking room. You can all go and just strike, and then when you've done striking, come out and be a grown-up with the rest of us.
I mean, there is a rage room that has opened recently just around the corner from work. Did you know that?
A rage room? Get out. What is it, like a soundproof screaming chamber or something?
It's like quite literally like you have an escape room or some sort of function that you can do.
Yeah.
You can go and you can destroy whatever is inside.
That does not speak well to our broad mental health status in this country.
No. But also, I don't believe that any of the protests that have occurred here about the teachers, nurses, etc., were very ragey.
Yeah, so interesting story as well when you consider the other correspondence that the government has entered into and publishing some of the discussions in the detail. Judith Collins in her open letter about all this earlier on. And to provide a bit of balance to this discussion as well, there were some head-scratching moments in that letter where she said the number one issue that was listed that they wanted to discuss during the strike negotiations. Josh, do you know what it was?
No, what was it?
You want to make a guess? We're talking about healthcare workers, we're talking about teachers, we're talking about nurses. What was the number one thing on their agenda?
Pay equity?
No.
Better working conditions?
Great idea. No.
I'm at a loss.
Palestine. Palestine was on there. Now, they came back later to say, well, just because it was on the list at number one doesn't mean it was our number one priority. I dare say, my friend, it shouldn't have been on there at all.
Agreed.
I don't really see how, look, if you want to have a voice about that, that's one thing, but I don't see the relevance in working conditions and pay when you guys want to talk about Palestine as well. So I think everybody needs to take a good long look at themselves.
Oh, dear.
Or put you all in timeout or something. Maybe go to a rage room.
Trending with Andrew Curtis.
Just going to skip through a few stories now as we march towards the number one. It's the end of an icon, Graboni.
Ah, Graboni.
Yeah, great Italian restaurant, Graboni.
Gonna miss Graboni.
No, wait, sorry, Grab One. Grab One is what it is. Grab One was number 9 in the country. Another legendary Kiwi brand going the way of the dodo, or maybe the way of the moor, if we want to keep it, New Zealand specific.
Liquidation?
Yeah. So, I mean, gosh, it's been around for a wee while, hasn't it, though? Grab One used to be the go-to for, getting a cheap meal somewhere. That was the primary thing that I used to use Grab One for. Also made good like gifts, birthday gifts and things like that for people. You could just give them a voucher for somewhere.
Flights always good.
Yeah, that's true. The flights is probably the main one now that I think about it.
Yeah, there you go. Do you still use Grab One, by the way? Get in touch, 8168 with the keyword REMA, or of course leave a comment below if you're watching the stream, rema.co.nz. Click on either the Facebook or YouTube links. This was the number 9 trending story in terms of Google searches over the week that was, hence why we're talking about Grabon.
Grabon. I'm trying to go to the Grab One website, by the way, right now, just to see what's up. But right now, if you're on the live stream, let me just show you. This is what you get. This site can't be reached. Grab1.co.nz. Are there any other options for what Grab One could be listed under? Doesn't look like it. You can see there's a little bit of metadata that says due to funding constraints, the business ceased trading and the liquidators are immediately commencing the sales process for the company's blah, 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 blah.
Also, When I asked, do you still use Grab One? The answer almost certainly is
no.
No, you literally can't.
Unless you've got some unused vouchers or something sitting around.
Oh, hopefully you've used. Oh gosh, that'll be. It's always sucky when you find a voucher that you forgot to use.
Yeah, it's like you get like clothing vouchers and stuff. Did you ever get that? Like Barker's vouchers is the one I used to get.
Yep.
Have like a $40 voucher, which of course is not enough to buy any one major item. So you're always like, cool, I've got this. Once I've got another, say, $50, then I can go in and actually buy something. Unless you want to buy overpriced socks and undies, which doesn't feel good.
No.
Spending a lot of money on socks and undies always feels bad, doesn't it?
I can't lie, and this may be a sign of the times, but I'm very glad to receive as gifts socks and undies.
Really?
As a kid, I was like, get out of here. What are you doing?
Nightmare. That was
31 years old. I'm like, oh, Mum, cheers.
Biggest difference between boys and girls, surely, is how you feel when you receive clothes.
No, yeah.
For like Christmas and birthdays, when you got clothes, because Mum and Dad were always trying to make sure you looked relatively smart. They could take you somewhere nice, and so you get like a shirt or a pair of pants or something like that. But I got to say, there's never been a moment in my childhood or even probably adolescence where I would received clothes as either a Christmas or birthday present. I was like, yes, just doesn't happen.
I gotta resonate with you there.
Yeah. So let's move on to the number 2 trending story.
Trending with Andrew Curtis.
And as a bit of a foretaste of what's to come with this, a question about your internet usage before we get into this story.
Mine particularly or yours?
Well, I think, the wider internet using public who might be a part of the show right now. What website would you miss the most?
Oh, just in general?
Just in general. If you were to be
websiteless,
what one would you miss the most? And this is because the number 2 trending news story in New Zealand was AWS outage.
Yes. Now, you're probably not as familiar with AWS, but let's talk more about Amazon and their affiliates. And a lot of their websites were down due to this outage, which was a big problem for many, hence number 2 trending over the week that was. Of course, the website I would miss the most, Andrew, rema.co.nz, because just how could I survive without it? And if you want to head there, you can check out the stream, by the way. The YouTube and Facebook links are there.
If it's possible to win a radio award for a segue, you have just sewn that up.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
So second to rema.co.nz. I feel like YouTube would be the one that I'd miss the most.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, we're using YouTube right now in the midst of trending to share these stories with you as you watch along or listen along.
So let's find out very quickly then what happened. AWS, by the way, stands for Amazon Web Services, and they do have a whole host of, web services that are provided under the Amazon umbrella. So this is not just about people being able to buy books and weird stuff from the Amazon store itself. There's a whole bunch of other peripheral websites that are built on the Amazon ecosystem, shall we say. So let's find out what happened, shall we?
Hey there, I'm Hallie, and we're coming on the air tonight with what could be a sigh of relief after the outage that broke the internet. It basically did, because Amazon's web services seem to be back online and working now. Maybe not 100%. Right, but back on the right track, according to the company on their end. That's after a glitch that pulled more than 1,000 sites offline. Snapchat, Roblox, OpenAI, Ring. Some people couldn't get into their bank platforms. They couldn't get their flight deals. And, that freaked people out, considering parts of our very online world went kind of dark.
That freaked people out. Oh my gosh, I can't even get on my Snapchat and stuff.
For a bit. I want to get right to Brian Chung. So here we are, 5 o'clock Eastern, Brian. Throughout the day, we had seen okay, things are back online. Wait, they're not. Yes, they are. No, they're not. Where do you things stand now, and why has this been so complicated to fix?
Yeah, Hallie, it's been a real roller coaster ride. We actually just got an update from Amazon in the last few minutes. They said, quote, we see full recovery, I'm paraphrasing, in approximately the next 2 hours. So they're basically saying they're on their way to fixing this. Not quite yet, but again, we heard that earlier this morning, and then shortly after that, it seemed like issues were again spiking for the range of different companies. What is so amazing about this story is that there were so many different types of industries that were impacted by this particular outage, again, which is traced back to Amazon Web Services, or AWS, when it came to Fidelity, being able to access your bank apps, trying to send someone a Snapchat, trying to get into your school tools. Those in the classroom were unable to get into things like Blackboard. You could see all these other types of companies that were impacted by this outage. The company is saying that this is, quote, an operational issue. It has something to do with one of their core database products, and
they don't know what happened. They got no idea. There was a megabyte somewhere. It went to the Googleplex. The hypernet went down, and then.
Can I share with you my favorite thing about this story?
Oh, please do.
So I discovered that some people own what's called a smart bed.
What?
That is connected to the internet.
What?
And due to this outage, many of those beds were stuck because they have a heating function. Were stuck on high. They also have the ability, like a hospital bed, where they can
fold
change
up and
different shapes. They were also stuck at the most rigid upright position because of this internet outage. So you're just trying to sleep and suddenly you're thrust forward and you feel like you're
About to
sleeping in
burst into
lava.
flames.
Yeah.
That's great. Who buys a smart bed? The irony of a person buying a smart bed. It's kind of self-selecting, isn't it?
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. I thought you'd love that.
I do. I genuinely. Can we look into how much a smart bed is, by the way?
Oh, thousands of dollars.
Really?
Yeah, thousands and thousands of
For
dollars.
a smart bed. I mean, I'm trying to think of the target market. Like, oh man, I wish I could sleep better, but my bed's too dumb. Why is my bed so stupid? You know when you get upset and you blame the object? Stupid table. When you like crank your toes into it, you're like, stupid table.
If you're a smart table, you would have got out of the way.
Exactly. Stupid bed. I didn't sleep properly. If only the bed was smarter. Yeah, that's the problem. The bed's too dumb. Not me, though.
By the way, we got a text in terms of the answer to what website you would miss the most. I wonder if this person is on the road often. They said, I'd miss my maps.
Good point. We'd have to learn how to go into gas stations again.
We would.
And read the map books.
Ask for directions.
Did you ever do that?
Marcy also says she would miss YouTube as well.
Yeah, there you go. Well, of course, naturally. But I mean, that is probably the one that I use to, pass time the most.
Considering Marcy is now currently viewing the stream on YouTube, which we are so glad that you are a part of the stream, Marcy. I can understand why. And by the way, if you'd like to watch the stream, rima.co.nz.
The show would certainly struggle if we had no stream for the,
streaming.
Yeah.
Trending with Andrew Curtis.
All right, 5 minutes to go. What was the number one story in the last week?
Surprising no one. Drum roll, please. Wind warnings.
Wind warning. Boy, do we love a good wind warning. Though, I'll be honest with you, I was a bit disappointed because maybe it's just the Auckland-centric way of thinking about New Zealand. But when I saw a wind warning, I thought, well, clearly this affects Auckland. So even yesterday evening, I was out about moving plants around in the backyard and putting them in more sheltered places because obviously this wind is coming, right? And it's gonna wreck all my tomato plants.
Poor soul.
Well, look, I was trying to be a good husband because if our baby tomato plants had passed away.
You were talking about this in the pre-show. No.
Yeah.
Happy tomato plant, happy wife, happy life.
That's right. It's the preamble to that classic
happy wife, happy life.
Aphorism. Exactly.
You just didn't know the origins, actually. That's the whole thing.
So if you've ever heard happy wife, happy life, it's true, but the part you've missed at the very start is
happy tomato
plant, happy wife, happy life. That's the holy trinity for a rich and sustaining relationship. However, yes, big winds are blowing and actually still parts of the country too that are without power and dealing with the consequences of this too. We've had some footage that's been shown. If you are able to join us on the live stream, we'll play this for you right now. So you got a couple of minutes to head to rema.co.nz.
Yeah, click on either the Facebook or YouTube links. We have, well, rather upsetting, but good to know that this woman was okay, as we can see in the video, blown onto the street.
Yeah, so this is happening in Wellington right now. And so taking a look at, you can see suddenly walking around the side of a building and the wind just catches a hold of her and then literally blown across 2 lanes of traffic, which thankfully did also stop. So that was good to see. But of course, the story was being replicated again all over the country. And spare a special thought for all the weather reporters that you know out there. Because you know what happened, right? They came into the office that day and they just knew someone was going to say to them, you get out there with a camera and an anorak. God bless you and good luck.
Show us bad weather.
What does bad weather look like? So we've got another bunch of clips. There you go, some audio for you there. A truck blown over as well. We've got sheets of rain coming in at a 90-degree angle here.
It sounds, you could pretend right now, for those who aren't watching the stream,
that's it,
that you're out in the weather.
I can barely hear you, Josh. We're coming to you live. We're sitting in traffic. There's bits of wood everywhere.
I will also say, though, as a broadcaster, one of the other more difficult things, and let's be honest, first world problems, but severe red wind warnings.
Yeah, hard to say in a hurry.
Doing the weather, severe Red wind warnings.
There are severe red wind. I feel like
red wind warnings.
Red wind.
Yellow wind warnings.
I feel like I'm an anchorman.
Yes, yeah.
Severe red wind warnings. Yellow wind warnings. There are severe
wristwatch. Red wristwatch.
Nevertheless, lots of big wind. That's kind of the moral of that story. Now, is this too naive to ask at this point? I feel like, though, this last batch has passed and now we're kind of dealing with some of the longer-term consequences because I'm not seeing the same level of watches and warnings in the Met Service forecasts at the moment. So let us know how things look in your town right now. Is it still a bit windy, mate?
Yeah, actually, even is there any, now, what would be the word I'm looking for here? Carnage that's been left over.
Oh, yeah, true.
I mean, the cleanup is also then going to be the next thing on a lot of people's mind. If you're on the stream and you've even got a picture on your phone you could share, feel free to do that. That's one of the beauties of the internet is we can actually share and see what is going on across the country because, yeah, how did the weather affect you? Certainly wasn't the most pleasant here in Auckland, but we're not going to lie, we didn't see the brunt of it.
No, but then again, we had our own floods a little while ago, so, you know, I want to share the love. Can't make it all about us. That's just an Auckland-centric way of viewing the world, isn't it?
Yeah.
Storms happening, well, it must affect us, obviously. Apparently, though, winds are up to about 140 kilometres an hour and about 150 millimetres more of rain on top of what has already fallen in certain parts of the South Island. So no surprise that that was the #1 trending news story from the last week, wind warnings.
Yeah, often we don't actually visit the, because weather often pops up very high, but this week it really was one that couldn't be gone past.
We kind of have to discern between, is this just like a generic weather query or is this actually a news-related search? Because I can understand people want to search for what the weather's doing every week, but if we bring you a story about weather every single week, I'll even stop watching. You know, it's going to be awkward for me, but I'll just tune out. I'll be like, here's another story, but we're just, no.
You know how I feel about Weather Waffle.
Weather Waffle, indeed. Taking a look, though, today, just to give you a bit of a teaser as to what's going on this morning in Aotearoa. A lot of sport, as per usual. There are road closures, very popular today. Second most popular news story in the country that's surged up in just about the last 20 or so hours. Not just road closures, but road closures in Southland. Granny flats, though. There's a change to granny flat laws in New Zealand.
Now, this is interesting.
Yeah, an exemption allowing granny flats to be built consent-free.
Okay.
Does that mean that, you know, your nana doesn't have a say on whether or not you make it? Nana, you're living here. No, I don't want to. No, I don't need your consent anymore. It's probably not what it means.
I mean,
right?
I have a particular interest in this now, just having bought a place. I wonder what that means for the little...
Oh, really? You're looking to ship your granny in with you guys
No,
already?
I just mean the cabin that is on our property, what that means in terms of laws and rules and stuff like that, but I'll have to look into it. Maybe we'll bring you that information on the next episode of Trending, if it is still trending by this time next week.
Yeah, but only if you guys want it, of course, because that's the way it works, isn't it? You guys tell us what you are interested in by your clicks and by your Google searches, and so, of course, that's what we've got up to today. So not really too much more to say as we count down the last 30 seconds or so. As I go back through these stories, I still think the first one was the most surprising to me, this kind of non-event with a teacher at a school.
Yeah, we didn't really get too much comments on that one, so if you'd like to, because we will have the post-show of Trending if you still want to be a part of the conversation. And if you missed it, a school incident of manhandling by a principal.
Manhandling!
Seems, by the footage at least, to be quite overblown. But
Nobody woman handles, though, do they?
No.
Sexist.
Want your opinion? 8168 keyword Rima, or of course, like we said, leave a comment on the chat, rima.co.nz. Facebook or YouTube links are there.
Also, plenty of talk about these strikes as they are kind of ongoing. Will they get any closer towards finding a resolution? Who's winning the PR war? Got to say, you're always on a hiding to nothing as the government, aren't you? Because you got teachers and nurses versus politicians. And just given the option of which group you'd rather associate with, very rare that somebody's choosing the politicians in this kind of a scenario.
I feel like we need all, but I feel like we need teachers and nurses more.
I think you might be right. So we'll see if this continues through to next week. And if so, if it is trending, we will talk about it again with you. But that is our lot for the day. So thank you so much. We're going to stick around on the live stream, which you can join. Head to rima.co.nz, click through to the Facebook or YouTube pages and share some further thoughts. Otherwise, we'll catch you with the rest of the radio crew 9 o'clock next Friday. Wow. Now that unpleasantness is out of the way.
I thought that was an absolutely fantastic show.
I think we did all right, eh?
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you so much, by the way, for joining. Still a lot of people on the stream. Feel free to leave a comment about what is going on. We're just going to stick around for a little while. If there's anything you want to share, we're going to go back through and see if there's any points we missed or extras we'd like to talk about in terms of the stories that are trending.
Gosh, it is funny how you find yourself becoming what you despised when you were younger, isn't it? Like with this whole, teacher-student situation and, manhandling. And I'm like, look, man, when I was a kid, if a teacher grabbed your school bag, I mean, come on. Am I just making an excuse for bad behavior for teachers there, or just trying to make it okay what I went through? But I feel like that's at the low level of offending. Like if you can't restrain a child in any way whatsoever.
Yeah, context is key here.
Yeah.
Because the context that we see, at least from the video, which is the incident in question, is there was probably no need to restrain.
Was there not? I mean, was there? I mean, and even when I say this, like the measure of, when you say restrain as well, you're thinking of police, knocking somebody on the ground, arms behind your back, read you your right stuff. It's
I'm thinking more specifically, the vision that came to my mind, and in a situation where a teacher may actually have to restrain a student is when there is a fight for whatever reason in a school.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, in those situations, surely you'd think that would be okay, right? But I feel like that would still be murky ground these days.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Whereas in this situation, it very much seemed clear whether or not there was no manhandling from our point of view, but whether or not there was any need for any contact at all, the one thing I could say to try to play devil's advocate, as it were, ironic on Rima, is I just don't know if it was necessary.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you can tell how seriously I'm taking this, because while you were saying that, I couldn't help but wonder, the origins of manhandling. Is that in regards to the person doing the handling or the person being handled?
Ooh.
Because really, in this case, it would be child handling, wouldn't it? If it's a child.
The origins of man.
And as a man, that's the only way I can handle things.
True.
What are my options? Do you want me to child handle? Those days have passed. I cannot woman handle. Manhandling is the only option I've got. Am I to not interact with the world around me? I mean, come on. These are the challenges I face. So, I don't know.
According to the Google AI, which we always take with a grain of salt,
right?
Its earliest known use is from the mid-15th century, which initially means to wield a tool or to attack an enemy. The meaning of to move by human strength developed in the 19th century, and the current more common meaning of to handle roughly emerged from its nautical scenes of forced manual labor. We're going back to pirates.
Arr. All right. Well, now we've all learned something that we will promptly forget in a hurry. We've got Trump, Ukraine, peace-related stuff, blah, blah, blah. I mean, I hope that story was accurate, the one that I shared before, courtesy of DW News, with a potential compromise there. I have heard many people reflect on this one, and my 2 cents, as not being an expert in international diplomacy, is that most wars are resolved by compromises that neither side is 100% happy with. Like the Second World War gave us this distorted sense that, the good guys win and get everything, and the bad guys lose and get nothing. And it just doesn't, most conflicts don't resolve like that. Afghanistan did not resolve like that. The Vietnam War didn't resolve like that. Korean War didn't resolve like that.
When World War I resolved like that,
there you go.
It led to World War II.
Yeah, exactly. So all to say, I mean, even the boundaries of Europe itself have been redrawn many times through the centuries. There's plenty of people who found themselves, French or German based on, a flip of the coin, somebody drawing a line on a map and suddenly like, congratulations, you're French now. Oh, now you're Russian, you're German, you're Polish, you're Russian again, now you're German. Like, these things happen a lot, and I'm not saying it's okay, it's just the way it is. So there was always going to be some kind of a redraw unless Ukraine were able to get some absolutely massive level of military backing, which became pretty obvious early on they weren't going to get.
Yeah.
They were always going to be given enough to kind of hold the line, as it were. But if they're able to give away Donbass, which, by the way, economically is a bit of a black hole for Ukraine. It's a very poor part of the country.
Right.
So if they can trade that off against retaining Zaporizhzhia and Kherson, which is more towards the south, borders along with Crimea, I think it's okay. I'd take it. I think that's a reasonable deal if they can get that. But that's, of course, alongside other security guarantees, and we don't know what that's going to look like. So, time will tell on that front. I can see our Di is hovering in the hallway. Do you want to bring her in? Just bring her in quickly. She can just say hi to people. And, before she takes over for the rest of the morning. Bum, 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 bum. What else has stood out? Come on in, Di. Say hello to the live stream. Oh, gosh. Say hi to the stream. Hi. That's all right. We'll pop you on whatever microphone you want to go on. Do you want to jump on that one over there? Oh, jump on. Okay, whatever.
Oh, okay.
There we go.
Hi.
Hi, Di.
Hi.
How you doing? So
I'm doing well.
Are you Andrew Urquhart today?
I am Andrew Urquhart today. I have no hat. I have no suit on, but I am Andrew. Yeah.
But you do have better hair than him.
Yeah. Yeah, like my hair. Yeah, thank you. I'll take that. I'm not gonna try and weasel my way out of that one. Thank you. I take that one.
How do you feel about teachers putting their hands on your child's school bag?
I look, if there was a reason for it, maybe they're moving it because it's in the way and it's a hazard.
See, it seems a baffling question, doesn't it?
It does.
This was one of our lead stories today.
Was it?
So weird, eh?
So what happened?
So there was a principal who was breaking up a bunch of kids standing around, and he may or may not have put his hand on one of the students' school bags or back at some point.
Okay.
And now the teachers have alleged that he manhandled their child. No, the parents. Oh, sorry.
Oh.
The parents?
The parents
What did I
of
say?
the child.
I said the teachers. You're right. Sorry, yes,
But
the
also
parents.
of note, quite interestingly, Di, we discovered that this
It's a lead
incident
story.
happened in 2022. They complained. The school said, no, we're not going to take that seriously. The student has since graduated from the school and left. But for whatever reason, now in 2025, it's cropped back up again.
It's back in the headlines.
It's back in the headlines.
Do you think, I feel like there's some sneaky, I've got friends in the media. I'm going to take this to the papers for you.
So who took it to the papers?
Well, we don't know.
We don't know.
We don't know.
Because I do find that a little bit interesting.
Isn't it just a bit sus?
Yeah.
I reckon it's sus as.
Okay. Well, hey, I think click on Better Stories New Zealand.
Oh,
there you go.
Shots fired. That's the spicy Dia Campbell hot takes. We need to make a regular part of the show. Would you like?
No, please don't.
Would you like the studio? Should we get out for you?
Yeah, I've got some great things coming up. Can I tell you?
Yeah, go on then.
Yeah, Dr. Bryce Edwards. He's going to be joining us.
Oh, that will be good.
Very, very shortly. We're going to be talking all things politics.
Cool.
As you would with Bryce Edwards. Alongside that, we're going to be talking Christmas today with Kristen Savings.
Christmas and politics in the same show,
Oh, my
Di?
word. And a little bit of comfort and cheer, but that's happening after 11.
Marvellous. All right, Di, you can take over. Thanks to everybody who's been part of the live stream with us. Yes, it is going to be Di Campbell for the rest of your morning too, so make sure you stick around and keep her company on the good old-fashioned wireless. Otherwise, we'll see you again from 9 o'clock next week. Ta-ta for now.